Minecrafters, and welcome to another hopefully interesting, hopefully insightful conversation today. Another Minecraft discussion on all things well-being. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I'm here to hopefully bring people into more of an awareness or consciousness of their own authenticity. This is what it's all about. And we do this by becoming the boss of our brain. That is it. So today, what I really like to talk about is to dismiss the pretenders. You know, if we're talking about it in a little kid way and pretending like you're flying to the moon and stuff, that's great. But as far as out in the world and grown-up world with people, just talking smack, and and people in our lives, and they're saying, oh, I care about you but this, I care about you but that. This is what we want when it's authentic, because there is no greater lift of one's spirit than being genuinely loved and cared about. And we know that as human beings, we are wired for that connection. Some people need a little, some people need more, but we all need some, and that's just it. And in the absence of connection, there is inevitably suffering. Brene Brown talks a lot about that. Without connection, there's inevitably suffering. And also what gets in the way for us is also shame, right? So shame can get in the way because unlike guilt says I made a mistake. Shame says I am the mistake, right? This is what often becomes our own internal dialogue around all these ways that we're not enough, we don't measure up, gets in the way of us, connecting and being our best, living our best, highest versions of ourselves, and just gets in the way of everything, really, because it's all about self-value when it comes to our authentic relationships and practicing self-care. So there you have it. So now where we're going with the pretenders is, the pretenders they talk a good game, and we're not even saying they're evil demons. They might just be quite off track themselves and living in ego falsity or whatever, and they're saying things that are not in alignment with what their intentions are. So that's what we're talking about, and this is all too common. It can be on a big level, but it can also be on a really small level. And I'm thinking even in the business place, because some people say, oh, well, it's just, that's retail, that's the business world, it's a dog-eat-dog world. No way. And in fact, authenticity sells, because it's that do what you love and the money will follow thing. If we want to, have optimal productivity and creativity, for our employees or as leaders or in our own business or whatever we're doing, we know for a fact that when our own authentic personality is in alignment with what the universe or source, higher power has in store for us, that's when we're in the zone. So really, there isn't a much, if any, excuse for going the route of the pretending. And I'm thinking of, this is obviously a very stereotypical example, though it has a good outcome, with car salespeople. And obviously we're not saying all car salespeople are not authentic or behaving in an authentic way. That, of course, that isn't true. However, it is kind of a stereotype. There are all kinds of used car salesman jokes and things like that, because they're just all about telling you whatever you need to hear so that you'll buy the car. They have an intention, their own agenda of say anything to this person. Get them talking about themselves, because people like to talk about themselves. They have a Yankee hat on. So talk about those Yankees. Wow, aren't they doing great? Even if you're a closet Red Sox fan and you're just bullshitting your way right through that to get them to buy the car. This is what we're talking about. And I'm actually thinking of, I did not buy my first Jeep at this time, partly because of this, but I went into the Jeep place. This is like 2.5 decades ago, because I've had 2 Jeeps since then. I was just kind of looking around. I wasn't quite ready yet, but almost ready. So it was at that kind of stage. And this saleswoman just really started, because I found like a new used one that I liked. It was a very good price. This is literally way before the Rona. This is probably at least 20 years ago, like I said. And she's just putting it on heavy. And then I said, well, I appreciate that. And it was all this, she was really spewing of how she genuinely cares for her customers, and she genuinely wants it to be a good fit, because you have to spend all this time, and you should really, your car should express you, and all that's really true. I actually believe that. I know that I will more than likely not drive anything but a Jeep ever again, because it suits my personality. Kind of like explains, it's fun and happy and bouncing the road and everything, and that's all true. And that's all true, and that would be a good sales pitch if she meant it. If she meant it, she was saying everything to me clearly as just a pretending facade. You like to be outdoors. You like this. You're fun. Love. Yeah. She didn't mean it. And we got back inside, and she starts saying, "Well, you know those that one you chose out there is scheduled to go back to an auction tomorrow because I've got 5 other people looking for it. Blah, 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 blah. And if none of it, then it was just all such crap." So most of the high majority of what she said was just, and again, I don't care if your agenda is to just sell that Jeep, no matter what. Just own it. Just say so. Just be very transparent about the facts. It has this, this, and this. It does not have that. It has this many miles. It's the color you like. It seems like most boxes are checked. Let me know what you think. Right? There's no shame in that. None. But to pretend and profess to kind of get in my head and get into that I'm a Yankee fan, get into that I like outside, get into that I have a fun-loving, happy-go-lucky personality. You've known me for 7 minutes. How do you know that? I mean, she was just so full of crap. So then I responded politely, always politely and respectfully, with that auction thing. Pressure, pressure, pressure. I said, I have to tell you, I don't respond to scarcity. That's it. Thank you. Have a good day. And if you could have seen the scowl, and I was that polite, but I'm not responding to your "it will be gone" statement, which is scarcity mindset, right? I don't do that. So I got in my frame, and went on my way, and she had this grimace because her pretending was dismissed and actually called out. We don't always have to call it out. I felt the need to at that minute. We can just dismiss it and be quietly effective. But no matter what, we've got to dismiss the pretenders in our lives. Just be transparent, even if you're selling a vehicle. I see that you have these boxes checked. 9 out of 10 of them are checked. It sounds like it's a good fit for me, but you tell me, whatever. Instead of all the crap. So then there's a flip side to this car story, which is why I used it, is when our youngest son, we were going to look at his first new used car out of college. So he's 22, and this wonderful guy, again, used car salesman stereotypes and jokes didn't apply to him. As it turned out, he was not recently, but he originally lived in our tiny little town in northern Vermont, which, the K to 8 is like 120 kids, and it's very small, and everybody knows each other. It's kind of like Mayberry and Andy Griffith, and it's a wonderful town. And he tapped into that, and I'm thinking, oh, here you go. And he knew one of the lovelies at the elementary school was still there that he had, that takes the kids on great school trips. And he said, "Oh my gosh, do you know Mr. W and all that?" And I'm like, here we go. He tapped into the source right there, and he did, but it was authentic, like I've never seen in a car sales transaction. He took so much time with our youngest son. Meanwhile, and this was probably 7 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, because Aiden just got out at like 7 years ago, so 6 years ago. Anyway, it was a while. So meanwhile, a lot of people are coming in. It's like a Saturday, and only a couple other salespeople there. He easily, once we agreed to sign the papers and did sign the papers, he could have just done this and probably got at least 1 or maybe even 2 more sales in the time we were there. And he didn't. He stayed there talking with Aiden about baseball and the town we live in and the trips he went on with the same teacher for a long time. Well, we just kind of waited while they cleaned up the car and kind of the stuff they do before they give it to you. And I was so impressed with that, I don't have words, because he was the real deal selling cars. I'm still talking about it, whatever years later, because he was authentic. Holy Toledo. And made our son's very first car sales experience a good one, because he really did care that it was within his budget. He really did care that he was comfortable with it. He really did care that all the other little things that he got with the car, especially as a first-time buyer, that he was aware of, even taught him about. I don't remember now, but various little things about the engine, he took the time to tell him all this stuff, talking about the importance of oil changes and all these things. Really, once you sell the car, you hope they're changing the oil, but lots of people be like, seize the engine, not on me, your problem. He didn't. He took the time to tell him all these little things that he really had to keep up with to have a success with his first car. So Dismiss the pretenders. So I chose to call her out politely, my car salesman. And again, we're not saying that was just my example. We're not saying all car salesmen, whatever. But mostly we can just be quietly effective. We did a whole episode on that. If you've got people trying to sell you a lot of falsity, a lot of ego-driven rhetoric, you can just choose to smile and nod and I appreciate your perspective and walk away, because we don't need to reinforce inauthenticity. We don't need to reinforce falsity. We don't need to reinforce someone else's pretending that's not in a fun kindergarten way, like being a superhero and stuff. That I would do at 57 in a New York second. We don't want to support people's own ego-driven agendas. That's what I'm saying. So dismiss the pretenders, detach with love and kindness, be quietly effective as much as you can most of the time, and that is it. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont on this lovely rainy day. Have a mindful day.